How's it going, guys? Welcome to today's video. It's the start of February. We have started calving, but we're still doing a few upgrades to the main heifer shed, calf shed. Things we're after doing is we're after putting a windbreaker up at the back here. It's kind of hard to see it. You can see a little bit better there now. Kind of a green windbreaker. We had a lot of wind and rain kind of coming in the back here of the shed because the shed behind it is lower. So we put in this windbreaker to try keep the pens dry. So hopefully that works. It's kind of just like a temporary solution, or a kind of a cheap option to try see if it works, and hopefully it'll help keep the beds dry and shelter the shed a little bit more. Another thing we're doing is we are putting stock boarding on the gates. So normally, you know, some of my previous videos, we often stack big square bales in the pens to divide them, provide more shelter. Not to necessarily divide them, there's still gates to divide them, but to provide a bit of shelter. This year we've decided not to do that. We're going to put some stock boarding in instead, and that's going to put it in between every pen. That'll give a little bit more space in the pens, and hopefully still provide a nice bit of shelter at calf level. One of the main reasons why we decided to do this is we would like to maybe mount on these pillars at the back kind of a cover that can lean out over the calves to provide a little bit more shelter to prevent from downdrafts. We probably won't get that in this year, but we're going to get the stock boarding up anyway, and this windbreaker, and hopefully those will make improvements to the shed. Dad's just up there doing a bit of welding. He's just trying to reposition some gates so that they open and close easier. Some gates are just a bit too long, or a shorter gate would be too short, so they're often tied with wire or twine or something. He's just trying to reposition them so that they can latch properly and make our lives a little bit easier. So this is the stock boarding we got. It's just 6mm thick. It's kind of the lightest one we could get, and we're just tech screwing it onto the gates. Seems to be working pretty well. I have a couple of gates done up there that will be hung back up once Padre's finished welding. This gate's going to be hanging here. I have one more gate. I'm just doing kind of the back half of the pen. It's not going all the way to the front. We might do in the front in the future, but I think if the back of the pen is done for now, that'll be enough, and we'll see how it goes. Now, first the heifers brought over from the other shed, where they should be. We're going to get the rest of them, so 20 cows will fit in each pen. You could actually probably fit more, but the milk bar feeder that we put in for feeding the milk has 20 teeth, so yeah, nice and spacious for them. Can't have enough foot baths. So it's a couple of days on now. We got the shed finished. So you can see the stock boarding up on all the gates. Our netting at the back. Pens are starting to fill up now. You can see the front of this pen is the front of all the pens are a bit wet. There's a flaw in this shed. So the overhang at the front is lower down, which creates a gap at the back. And that's fine, good for ventilation. But the top part doesn't come out far enough. That needs to have a good overhang over the overhang. But it doesn't, it stops too early, actually even just a tiny bit inside. And rain gets in the top there and causes the front of this pens to get wet. So we might look at putting netting up on the front there. But that's probably going to be next year. These are all the heifer calves. We use sex semen for our dairy replacement, so it's been mainly dairy heifer calves that have been born so far. So just looking at the pens here, good bit of rain today. Hello. Not too bad. What do you think? Is it good enough? One of the days that it was very wet and windy, there was moisture still getting in, and I think what was happening was it was blowing the sheets and shaking the rain in. But the beds don't look too bad there now. Who's doing the balling? Sorry, all the calves are starting to bawl because it's near feeding time. But I want to come out here and see what those straw beds were like, to see if our netting is working. I think it feels a little bit more sheltered in here, so I think it is working, definitely from the wind point of view. Whether it's keeping them dry, maybe it is to a certain extent. As I said, it was kind of a cheap test anyway. If it's, maybe it might be some help, but if it's not perfect, we can look at doing something better down the line. Now, just over here at our little power washer, we have this foamer here that can be connected onto the power washer to apply some foaming agent to help clean whatever it is you're cleaning. So you can see our lance, you can just screw off the end there, screw on this, and away you work. But it's a little bit awkward, especially if you have it tight, you have to get a tool to open it. So I'm after getting a few quick attach pieces that I'm going to put on it now. It'll be very easy to switch them over and back very quickly. So shout out to Adrian, I Farm We Farm on YouTube, because this was in one of his videos that he made this upgrade to his power washer, and I thought I definitely have to do that. That was only hand tight. We have the female part, it's going to go on the handle here, and then I have two male parts, one for each. Then I'm going to put some plumage tape on this. Finally, the male part for foamer. Now that's them done. That was pretty quick. Probably took me the same amount of time to put them on as it did to switch it over and back.